Is there any new evidence that connects the president or the then vice president to any illegal, unethical behavior?
Well, no. I mean, I think Comer set this high bar for himself, saying this is really an investigation about whether Joe Biden was improperly influenced, was compromised at all by all of these business dealings going on around him, including some with foreign entities.
Hey, folks, Dale Jackson here. Time to talk about the coverage of the press conference that Republicans held today, where they laid out all the stuff that Joe Biden has been doing that is unethical and probably criminal. The investigation is ongoing. Stonewalling is still happening. The DOJ is not interested, so they went before the media to explain where this investigation is. And Byron Donalds, the congressman from Florida, I think lays it out pretty well.
First, what we're seeing here, what we're witnessing with the Biden family, frankly, is just a web of concealment, of deception. A lot of people would say corruption. But let's be very clear. You have this many companies involved, this velocity of transactions, size of transactions. Like my colleagues have said, this is not how normal businesses operate. I had the ability with Chairman Comer and other members of the committee to go over to the Treasury building and review documents. And having read those documents, one thing became pretty crystal clear, that there were many people who had serious questions about the transactions and about the velocity of these transactions, and they either get very, very deep into concealment, hiding money, shifting money, and for the purpose, we don't know, because one thing everybody in this room and the American people definitely know is that the Biden family doesn't really have a business. There is no business structure around this family except politics.
But even though it's clear there are multiple members of the Biden family making money off of Joe Biden's politics, we still have an American media that has no interest in this. And keep in mind, this press conference laid out wire transfers, attempts to conceal how much money is being made, how Joe Biden is involved. And CNN and the folks on that network decided not to carry the press conference and to claim that the conversation itself is just silly. It's already over. They didn't reach this high bar. They have no interest in this, and that is painfully clear.
Other financial records obtained by the committee detail millions of dollars in payments by foreign entities, including in China, to members of Joe Biden's family when he was vice president. The committee held a morning event to highlight its findings. You see there Chairman James Comer front and center. The Kentucky Republican said the records are building blocks in what he calls a continuing investigation of President Biden.
I don't think anyone in America who's watching C-SPAN or any other network that's covering this would think that it's just a coincidence that 9 Biden family members have received money for this influence peddling scheme. We believe that the president has been involved in this from the very beginning, obviously.
But, and it's an important but, the committee conceded it had not uncovered any illegal payments or behavior by Biden family members or any evidence then Vice President Biden received any of the money or did anything improper. CNN Sarah Murray joins me here live in studio. He keeps saying this is about President Biden, and the time frame would be meaning Vice President Biden. But is there any new evidence that connects the president or the then vice president to any illegal, unethical behavior?
Well, no. I mean, I think Comer set this high bar for himself, saying this is really an investigation about whether Joe Biden was improperly influenced, was compromised at all by all of these business dealings going on around him, including some with foreign entities. But even in this report they lay out today, they don't allege that these payments, from foreign entities were illegal. They don't point to any payments that went directly to Joe Biden. They say that they're in the middle of this investigation. They're going to move ahead with more bank subpoenas. But so far, Comer is falling short of the bar he set for himself.
Later on in this conversation, they would go on to talk about Jared Kushner and that he got money from the Saudis after he left the White House. There is a difference here, and Byron Donaldson laid it out pretty well. First, let's listen to the argument CNN's making.
So the White House focusing on the fact that you can't connect this back to anything Biden did. Somebody in the family got money and asked this. They haven't been able to do that. There's no question, and this part's not new. They may be getting new details. Members of the president's family, I call it swampy. A lot of people in Washington trade in on their names and make money, but have they taken it beyond that at all?
Well, right. right. I mean, look, they point to this example of Joe Biden being in Romania railing against corruption when he was vice president, and then they point to, a payment from Romanian entities going to members of Biden's family. But in that example, Joe Biden is still out there railing against corruption. In that example, you don't have some clear connection between these payments allegedly from Romanian entities somehow influencing what Joe Biden was out there doing. So again, they're sort of falling short on this. And I also think, when Comer comes out, he talks about all of these Biden family members being involved. We haven't seen evidence of that. They name, I think, 3 Biden family members, including Hunter Biden, by name in this report, but sort of by saying the Biden family, I think they sort of want to toss everyone into the same lot here, including Joe Biden.
And again, congressional oversight by either party into what I call the swamp of Washington, influence peddling, or whatever you want to call it, people trading in their names, would be a healthy thing.
Right.
But Chairman Comer also said, from a historical standpoint, we've never seen a presidential family receive these sums of money from adversaries around the world. I just want to show a New York Times headline. Does he not, maybe he doesn't take recent presidential history. Again, not to single out Jared Kushner or the Trump family, but that's another example of someone who left the White House and within weeks was doing business with people when he was in the White House, had official dealings with.
And once again, let's listen to Byron Donalds talk about how the Trump family, the Kushner family, these individuals had actual businesses.
Bottom line is, there is no real business here. None. And let me also say this, because I know there are many in this room who wanted to go down all the various schemes that our colleagues on the other side of the aisle accused the former president of. Be very clear. The former president actually had a business, very big business. You could say it was his name. You could say it was his buildings. You could say it was wine. You could say it was branding. You could say it was The Apprentice. But he had a very big and legitimate business, which everybody in this room clearly knows and understands and can point to and say, that's the thing, that thing over there. Joe Biden has no business except his position in politics. And it is the requirement of this committee to investigate that. We're going to continue to do that, and we're going to let the facts speak for themselves. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
There is no business with the Biden family except Daddy's vice president. Daddy's president. That's the grift. CNN can't put this together because they're the experts and the ones you're supposed to trust here on politics, right? But they can't figure this out. This has eluded them from the beginning of the Hunter Biden laptop story. They've got it wrong time after time after time. They've had to fire a good portion of their network because nobody trusts them. And then here we are doing the exact same thing again. Oh, this is old news. Oh, this doesn't reach the bar of illegality. It's unbelievable what they're going to allow Joe Biden to get away with. Unless the DOJ straight up prosecutes Joe Biden, the American media is either going to ignore this or downplay it. It's up to members of Congress and whoever the Republican nominee for president is to drive this point home. That A, the Biden family is corrupt, and B, the media is corrupt.